Hey guys, so a few days ago I pulled into a parking spot and heard a really loud clacking noise coming from under my hood, and immediately I thought it was something pretty serious, but it was nothing too serious. It was just my radiator fan. It had cracked on one of the blades. I attempted to fix it by putting tape on it, but it started to the tape came off and it wasn't really a good fix. I also used zip ties, but that only worked for a little bit. So you can see I'm trying to test it here, but there's still a pretty loud clacking sound. So I went to my local junkyard called Pull Apart in Louisville, and instead of having to pay for a brand new one, the price for it, I just went ahead and pulled an old one off an old vehicle, and it worked just fine. And in the meantime, you also have fun doing it. So here's a screen at Pull Apart where you can quickly find your car, your make, your model, and how many of them are on the lot. So Pull Apart is structured by rows. They have and make of the car. So once you actually get into the lot, you go and find your make, either a GM section, a Chrysler section, a Ford section, whatever type of car you need. And you find your section, and then you find your row on your printout ticket. So you get your ticket and you find which car you're looking for. There was about 11, I think, Luminas. And here I find a 1995 Chevy Lumina, and the radiator fan is the same as a 1997. So go ahead and make sure it's in the car. There's some cars that didn't even have a radiator fan. Somebody else had already pulled them out. So go ahead and locate your car and make sure your part's still there. So the first thing you have to do to take the radiator fan out is take the 3 screws off your engine bracket. You just take them off and it swings back. It's pretty simple. There might be some other things in the way, but I found it pretty easy to work around everything. So all you really have to do is take that engine bracket off, and everything else you can sort of work around. I took this this rubber tube off right here just to make it a little easier, but you don't have to. It's not necessary. There are 3 spots that this radiator fan is mounted to. The top one, the top spot is just a long screw. Go ahead and take that out. The second one is another screw on the side. That one's a little shorter. Just go ahead and take that out too. They're both 10mm sockets. And on the bottom, it's not a screw, but it is a little metal piece that comes up off the actual radiator itself, and it just slips down in. So go ahead and slip that off. And the last piece you have to take off is this little electrical unit. It's a little tricky. There's a clip on the bottom side that holds it in. Go ahead and take your screwdriver and get it under there. It might take a little while. It took me a couple tries to get it, but don't worry, it'll come. I actually had to take the radiator fan and flip it around. You don't have to. You can still take it off when it's on the bottom, but I flipped it around just to make it a little easier. Once you have the 2 screws out and the electrical clip, just go ahead and slide it out from its original place and check it out. Make sure it's not broken. Give it a couple spins, and this one's intact and we're good to go. Also, go ahead and check the 3 mounts on the side just to make sure there's nothing broken. Here's the electrical clip that goes into it, and 1, 2, and everything looks good, and 3, and that's where the clip on the bottom just slides in. So we're good to go. I just thought I'd show you guys this. I actually did go and look for the 97 Lumina, and I actually found that the engine was completely out of it, so it would have made it a little easier. I just took the radiator fan out of the first Lumina that I found. Go ahead and take your radiator fan back home, and here is my car. As you can see, obviously everything's intact, and I'm just kind of assessing the situation and looking at it, and by the end, all I have to take off is the engine mount bracket and this rubber tube there, and the intake and the windshield washer fluid. I just let that be, and all I had to do was take that bracket off. So the first thing I did here was took that electrical clip off. I used a smaller screwdriver because a larger one wasn't really fitting down there. This wasn't that hard. It actually came off a little easier than the one at the junkyard. I went ahead and took that electrical piece and tucked it away between two other cables just to keep it out of the way. So go ahead and take your top screw off and the screw on the side. It was a little difficult to get this screw on the side because it was everything was still there, obviously, unlike the junkyard where everything's kind of ripped out. Again, it's a 10 millimeter socket. As you can see, I have to do just it looks like maybe a 1/16 of a turn or a 32nd of a turn. Obviously not much movement down there, so I just have to inch it out as I can. And once I get it out, you can see that the screw there is actually kind of short, so you don't have as much of a screw to pull out as you did on the top bracket. Once you get your two screws out, go ahead and you can actually pull the whole radiator fan out now and just pull that clip on the bottom. And as I said before, all you have to do is remove the engine bracket, and everything else you can leave on and it'll just slide out. I went and compared it with the one I got from the junkyard, and it compares perfectly, so it was a good fit. And you see there it cracked just after wear and tear and after much use. So go ahead and put it back in just like you took it out. Make sure everything's screwed down tight, and make sure the fan turns, and make sure that's not coming out. Make sure the electrical clip doesn't come out. That was a little difficult to put in, but just make sure you press it hard enough. So go ahead and turn your AC on, make sure it works. Make sure you actually turn it to the AC, otherwise the fan won't turn. You can't just turn the blower on, you actually have to turn it to AC or AC max. And as you can see, everything's turned out pretty good. So the last thing to do is to put your engine bracket back on. I'm showing you that both of them are running. They're running in sync and intact, and I'm finally able to enjoy my AC.